What if you were alive 200 million years ago? Imagine opening your eyes not in the comfort of your bedroom, nor in the busy hum of modern life, but in a world so different, so primordial, that you would scarcely recognize it as home. The air feels different, heavier. The sounds that reach your ears are both alien and strangely familiar. Calls of distant animals, the whisper of ancient winds through towering forests, the distant crash of waves on shorelines you have never known. You are alive, transported across epochs, suddenly existing on Earth as it was 200 million years ago, deep within the Mesozoic era, in the waning days of the Triassic period. The very first thing you might notice is how the sun rises and sets over a world dominated by a single, massive supercontinent, Pangaea. Gone are the familiar outlines of modern continents, the boundary markers you might expect on a map. Instead, all land is coalesced into a vast, sprawling landmass that stretches from pole to pole, edged by a single, gigantic ocean, Panthalassa. There are few, if any, of the bustling cities or intricate roadways that define your era. The silence is punctuated only by the rush of ancient rivers and the distant echo of an emerging wildlife. Air fills your lungs, thick with oxygen, though scientists debate just how much denser or thinner Triassic air would be, driven by the immense forests that cover much of Pangaea. Our atmosphere carries a faint tang, less polluted, perhaps, but also infused with pollen and spores from ferns, cycads, and ancient conifers that tower overhead. Colors surround you, muted and yet vibrant in their own age. The palette of dark green leaves, rusty red bark, and the grayish-brown of a landscape untamed by humanity. Giant horsetail plants cluster near the edge of a stream, their reed-like stems shooting several meters into the air. No grasses sway at your feet, for true grasses have not yet evolved, leaving the ground underfoot covered in deep layers of fallen needles and cicades' leathery leaves. Traveling across this landscape, you notice something striking. The soundtrack of this age is unlike anything you've ever heard. No birds flit from branch to branch, trilling their song. Avian dinosaurs are a distant dream. Instead, insects buzz and click in the undergrowth. Large dragonflies, some as big as your hand, cut lazy paths through dusky rays of sunlight, their transparent wings shimmering with iridescence. Cicadas and beetles lay low beneath the shade of monstrous tree ferns. Occasionally, the forest falls strangely silent, as if acknowledging the presence of something significant lurking just out of sight. Venturing further, you might chance upon one of the lords of this ancient realm, a reptile unlike any you've ever imagined, such as Plateosaurus, an early herbivorous dinosaur. Standing taller than a grown man and stretching up to 9 meters long, its neck sways majestically above the ground as it browses for foliage among the crowns of cycads. Its mottled skin, covered with scales for protection, glistens in the golden haze of dawn. Watch it for long enough, and you'll see it rear onto its hind legs, stretching for the choicest leaves among the treetops. Despite their size, these creatures are gentle browsers, wary of the hungry eyes lurking in the shadows. For where there are herbivores, there are predators. The apex hunters of this era are not the mighty tyrannosaurs or raptors you may know from later periods. Instead, meet Colaphysis, a lithe, agile predator that hunts in packs. No taller than a man and much lighter, these creatures possess sharp teeth and keen eyes. If you were to watch a group of them stalk the undergrowth, you'd witness the raw beauty of ancient survival, coordinated movements, sudden bursts of speed, and the desperate flight of smaller prey. Reacting to their presence, the smaller reptiles, scurrying along heavy logs, ducking into crevices, are a testament to the law of eat or be eaten that rules this untamed world. But it's not just the dinosaurs that stake a claim here. The world teems with an array of reptilian life. Massive crocodile-like creatures, such as phytosaurs, lounge near slow-moving rivers, their snouts just breaking the water's surface, waiting patiently for unwary prey. Etosaurus, armored with bony plates running down its back, shuffles along the mudbanks, digging for roots and tubers. Every step you take, every turn of your head, uncovers a new marvel, remnants of an age when reptiles, not mammals, ruled the earth. Looking to the sky, you see another marvel of evolution, the very first flying vertebrates. Pterosaurs, with their leathery wings and needle-toothed jaws, take to the air like living kites, soaring and diving in pursuit of flying insects. With a wingspan stretching several meters, some, like Eudimorphodon, would appear both menacing and comical by today's standards, awkward on the ground, yet graceful in the sky. Their presence signals the dawn of flight, an innovation that would echo down the ages, culminating in the birds you know today. But where are the mammals? If you search the underbrush carefully, you might spot small, shrew-like creatures, our distant ancestors, scurrying in the leaf litter. Tiny and timid, these proto-mammals, known as cynodonts, spend most of their lives hiding, feeding on insects, and keeping out of sight. They are nocturnal by necessity, their large eyes better suited to the gloom. Their presence is almost a whisper in this world dominated by giants, a foreshadow of the mammal's rise still millions of years away. Time passes differently here. With no human clocks or calendars, you learn to read the world through the other cues. Days are hot, nights can be chilly, especially across the vast, arid interiors of Pangaea. Monsoon rains lash the land in seasonal cycles, breathing life into dry riverbeds and soaking the parched ground. When storms roll in, the sky grows ominous, lit by forks of lightning that reveal the strange silhouettes of ancient plants and the lumbering forms of prehistoric reptiles hurrying for shelter. As night falls, the world seems to hold its breath. In the darkness, life continues, eyes adapted for gloom watch from the undergrowth, and strange guttural calls echo through the trees. Distantly, you hear the soft, rhythmic croaking of early frogs, their ancestors having only recently colonized land from the waters. Above, an endless parade of stars stretches across inky velvet, the constellations subtly altered by continental drift and time's long march. But survival here is no easy feat. Not for you, and not for the creatures of this age. The food chain is ruthless, the climate unpredictable. Many of the plants you see are toxic to humans. Even water sources, rich in dissolved minerals, could make you ill. Scavenging for food, you quickly learn that many prehistoric plants, like cycads or ferns, contain chemicals your body cannot easily process. The most appealing options might be insects, or if you're lucky, the occasional cluster of ancient fruits or seeds. You must also be ever watchful for danger. Even the sunshine of midday brings predators, mosquitoes and giant bugs in swarms, sharp-toothed theropods following the paths of grazing herds, crocodile-like creatures lurking beneath placid waters. You soon realize that in this world, you are not the apex predator. Rather, you are outmatched, a fragile newcomer in a land that belongs to creatures whose bodies and senses are perfectly honed for their environment. As you roam this prehistoric earth, your gaze eventually turns to the coast, where the land meets the shallow sea. Here, another marvel awaits, for the oceans, too, are filled with ancient wonders. The shallow, sun-warmed seas of the Triassic are home to marine reptiles like Nothosaurus and the formidable Ichthyosaurus, with its dolphin-like shape and powerful tail. Ammonites, spiraled shells that will one day become collectors' fossils, float along the currents, their tentacles reaching for passing plankton. The rocks here are encrusted with rudimentary corals and mollusks, laying the foundation for the reefs of future eras. If you are brave enough to explore further, you might encounter the massive temnospondyl amphibians, lurking in murky pools, their lungs able to gulp air, and their skins slick and cold to the touch. The coastline teems with life, and yet every step is a cautious one. Prehistoric sharks ply the waters, their jaws evolved for survival in a world filled with armored fish and marine reptiles. It is difficult, perhaps, to comprehend the sheer enormity of geologic time, but if you observe closely, you will see the clues all around you. The mountains in the distance are younger, still growing as Pangaea heaves and shifts with the restless motion of tectonic plates. Volcanoes erupt periodically, sending rivers of lava and clouds of ash across the land, shaping the world even as it hosts these ancient creatures. Yet, as you wander this vast, untamed realm, you know that all is about to change. At this very moment in history, a slow-motion catastrophe is brewing, the seeds of the end Triassic extinction event, one of the great die-offs in Earth's story. For millions of years, volcanic activity will spew greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, raising temperatures, acidifying oceans, and gradually, inexorably, cutting short the reign of many of these creatures. Over a third of all land and sea species will vanish, clearing the way for the true rise of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic, and, eventually, for the age of mammals. The creatures you see, the landscapes you cross, they are snapshots in time, fragile and fleeting. And yet, they are the ancestors of today's world. Every conifer needle, every insect wing, every careful step of a plateosaurus is a note in the symphony of life that will one day crescendo into the diversity of creatures and plants that you know. As you linger in this world, a feeling of awe might sweep over you. With no trace of cities or culture, the Earth as it was 200 million years ago is a place where time moves to the rhythms of sun and storm, plant and predator, growth and decay. You are living in a frontier of existence, a world at once more dangerous and more beautiful than any you have known. To survive, even just for a day, you must rely on wit, caution, and a deep respect for the mysterious, interconnected systems that sustain ancient life. You might huddle in the boughs of a cycad as a thunderstorm approaches, feeling the vibration of rain pounding leaves as thick as your arm. You might keep a wary eye on the water's edge, knowing that even a moment's carelessness could be your last. You might marvel at the colors of the evening sky, painted with the dust of distant volcanoes, and ponder the fragility of all you see. In quiet moments, as you pick your way through the underbrush or rest against a sun-warmed stone, you catch glimpses of the relentless experiments of evolution. Every animal and plant around you is a survivor of countless generations, a testament to adaptation, resilience, and the tenacity of life. Over the next tens of millions of years, each will meet its fate. Some will vanish, leaving only tiny clues pressed into stone, while others will change and diversify, becoming the ancestors of forms still alive today. Standing here, a visitor out of time, you are exposed not just to the wonders of the Triassic, but to the vast, interconnected story of Earth itself, a story marked by upheavals and extinctions, by giants and by the humble, by relentless invention and quiet endurance. Eventually, if you listen closely, you might hear the faint, distant echo of all that is yet to come. Through the misty dawn, you glimpse what will one day be mammals thriving in the long shadow of dinosaurs, the first true birds taking flight, the eventual upheaval of the continents into familiar shapes, the rise of the vast forests that will one day become coal, the slow, persistent march toward human ancestry. Your heartbeat, quickened by wonder and fear, is just one note in the ancient rhythm of the world, part of a story far greater than any single creature, a legacy stretching across millennia, from the remote dawn of life to the present day. In this moment, alive 200 million years ago, you are both alone and connected to the past, the present, and all the futures yet to come. Every footstep is an act of discovery. Every breath is a bridge across time. The world you see is as it was, in all its rawness, possibility, and unspoiled majesty, a testament to the ancient power and enduring beauty of our home, Earth.